What's really important when listening to these spiritual teachings, I feel, is having an open and humble mind. Having an humble and open mind, being humble in front of the truth, not trying to judge everything from your common sense. Or else, as Jesus said, don't put new wine in an old sack. You have to have a new container for new teachings. So let's be open to these mystical secrets that Master has been revealing to us. With that said, let's dive in to who is Ame no Miyoyagami through Master's spiritual readings. Ame no Miyoyagami is actually El Cantare's consciousness. El Cantare consciousness. So one of the past lives of Master Okawa. And Master describes that the foundation of Bushido actually comes from Ame no Miyoyagami. And it's not something to just contain in Japan, but this Japanese spirit, the samurai spirit, is actually a universal concept. He talks about in this Kyoten that Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy had the Bushido spirit. What are the basic teachings of Ame no Miyoyagami? In one of the Kyotens, Master talks about 7 points, or he himself, the spiritual message, he said 7 points. He talked about etiquettes and courtesy. The teachings of respect came first. And then the second one, the difference between heaven and earth. And then the third one, how to attain harmony between male and female. 4, ceremonial occasions, meaning in times of like giving birth, coming of age, marriage, or memorial services, you do these services in front of God. So that system was created by Ame no Miyoyagami. 5th one, which is really, we always do this in Happy Science, ritual prayers, kigans. And then, maybe it's similar to the first one, but the culture of respect and honor. Honoring the people above, honoring the people who are older than you or more experienced than you, is a culture that was taught by Ame no Miyoyagami. And then, order, peace, and harmony. Now, let's look at the other basic teachings from the Bushido. The foundation of Bushido spirit, the samurai spirit. I've already spoken about it earlier, but in a nutshell, what is the Bushido spirit? It's to fight for justice when you must. Whether it be filled with demerits for yourself, you still fight for the name of justice. Or, in parentheses, unforgiving towards cheaters. And he hates dishonesty. It's very important to be transparent in the teachings of Ame no Miyoyagami. And then he also talked about the importance of discipline and how important it is to become strong, to build yourself. In order to fight for justice, you have to be strong, which comes from a daily discipline. And then he also talks about kekkai, which is a Japanese word for spiritual screens. Because of this purity, it deflects evil spirits, which leads to today's topic of the grand perspective of exorcism. The power of integrity, sincerity, and honesty, which comes from diligence, hard work, tireless efforts, and studiousness. And this is what creates trust. And trust is such an important power for us to be successful, as Dylan said, in this life. So it may seem old-fashioned, and maybe a lot of people are doing the opposite, such as cheating, lying, deceiving, cutting corners, faking, manipulating, etc. And they feel that that is the easier way to achieve success, but in the long run, they will always fail, as we saw in the movie, The Beautiful Lord. So creating trust is the driving factor of success. Also, at the same time, this is the wisdom that we can learn from Ame no Miyoyagami's Japanese civilization. It's actually the way of offense and defense at the same time. So you do become successful. That's the side of the offense. But because you're humble and you're grateful to others, you don't allow other people's jealousy to strike you down. This is a very powerful way of achieving success. But not only success, talking about defense, let's get to the main topic of today. What is the royal road of exorcism? It's just one paragraph. Master defines it in one paragraph from the Kilton, The Laws of Secret, chapter 4. And I quote, "The essence of conquering the devils is to know your brilliance based on the knowledge of the spiritual views of the world. It is also to know the brilliance of the other people around you and to live a life of gratitude and giving back. If you can live in this way, you will naturally be able to conquer the devils. So there is no need to be too afraid." So, even in the past week or two, we've had, I know Mariko picked up one of them, but I've also picked up 2 phone calls given to the temple about exorcism. That they are suffering from evil spirits and they have nowhere to go because if they go see the doctor, or 4 cases actually within this month, because if they go to see the doctors, they will either just be given pills or they would, in a worst case scenario, be locked up in a mental hospital and there's just no way out. But they know that they're not crazy. They're intellectual people when I talk to them. So in these things, in these times when we're fighting against evil spirits, there's no need for us to rely on outside power. It's just to simply live the way of life Master has explained in this chapter, in this paragraph, which is know your own brilliance seen from the spiritual views and know other people's brilliance and being grateful and live a life of giving back. Sometimes these evil spirit issues can make us really afraid and overly scared, but there's no need. It's just to live a beautiful life. It's to live a beautiful life seen from God, which leads to the last part of today, from sadness to delight. In this chapter, page 195, Master says, "The world will appear to be beautiful and shining when you become spiritually awakened." And he talks about the essence of how to see the world beautifully. Even though there are people around you that are richer than you, that are more privileged than you, that are smarter than you, that could be more better looking than you, they have more money than you, they have a better background, educational background, it doesn't matter. All of our lives are beautiful. And how do we see and feel that? This is the question that I'd like all of us to continue asking ourselves. Since you were born, have you made the world beautiful? Since you were born, did you make the world a better place? Please ask yourself this question. And this naturally leads to the grand perspective of exorcism, the grand path, the royal road to exorcism. In one of the old Kiltons that Master has written, Master said, "People who are truly strong are kind." So let us see if we can be kind to others in times of hardships. In times of adversities, can we still be kind to others? That is the test for us to see if we're really strong or not. Let us all become strong and become light for the world.